the President of the Colombo Plan Council, the Secretary General of the Colombo Plan, Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, Bulabinaka, and greetings to you all. It gives me great pleasure to extend to you all a very warm welcome on behalf of the government and the people of Fiji, and to thank the Colombo Plan for accepting our invitation to host the 45th session of the Colombo Plan consultative meeting. We hope that while you're here, you will enjoy our true Fijian hospitality, exemplified by our Bula spirit. Many Fijians, of course, are still feeling the joy of our historic gold medal win at the Rio Olympics for Sevens Rugby. So I think you will find our people even more hospitable than usual. And thank you, sir, for that message. For Fiji as a small island developing state, climate change is not just a significant global issue. It is the single most important crisis facing our nation. And for some of our neighbors, it is literally a matter of life and death. Extreme weather events, rising seas, and environmental change and degradation threaten us at our very core. They are threats to every government, every community, and every person. Some Pacific nations are facing the very real possibility of disappearing beneath the seas. They may have no islands to call their own. The people will have to migrate, but their way of life and their culture may never be the same as reluctant exiles in another country, no matter how generous their new host nation may be. We are also working with our threatened neighbors. The government of Kiribati has purchased 20 square kilometers of farmland on our second major island, Honolulu, to guarantee the food security of its people. And they are already growing fruit crops there. And should the unthinkable occur, Fiji has committed to provide a permanent home to the entire populations of Kiribati and Tuvalu, our two closest neighbors. We pray that this will be unnecessary, but we must prepare for the unthinkable. In Fiji alone, my government has identified some 830 communities that will probably need to be relocated to escape the rising sea levels. Of this group, about 40 are high priority. We will keep them as close to their current location as possible so that the cultural, social, and economic disruption can be kept to a minimum. But any move like this is bound to provoke anxiety and fear. Some people need to believe that they will be safe when they finally relocate. There will be concerns about the relocation of the graves of family members. There are huge implications for food security, for health, for education, employment, and the dignity and overall well-being of communities. Many of you present today are facing similar challenges. We Pacific Small Island Development States don't have the luxury of time. The fact that Fiji was the first country to sign and ratify the Paris Agreement shows the urgency of the hour and our commitment to the future of our common humanity. But we have only begun our campaign to spur the world to real action for global climate change and to combat climate change. And we will continue to press and press and press at every opportunity, in every forum, until the world takes the difficult step, makes the hard choices, and shares the sacrifices necessary to confront climate change. We acknowledge the US government, China, and other industrialized countries for following suit and ratifying the Paris Agreement. And we are grateful for the solidarity of our Pacific neighbors in this regard through the Suva Declaration and their strenuous efforts internationally. But the hard work has just begun. We are determined to leave our islands in a better state for our future generations. And we urge members of the Colombo Plan who have not ratified the Paris Agreement to do so as soon as possible. And then we ask you to join our uncompromising call for action. In February this year, Fiji was devastated by Cyclone Winston, the biggest tropical cyclone ever to make landfall in the Southern Hemisphere. In 2015, Tropical Cyclone Pam laid waste to Vanuatu. In late 2014, the Philippines suffered enormous destruction and loss of life from Typhoon Haiyan. And we remember, of course, that Winston crossed over Tonga twice. He did a 180-degree turn and came back across Tonga to strike Fiji. So we are not alone as these tropical storms get stronger and even strike outside the traditional cyclone season. We continue the long road to recovery from Winston, and one of our priority areas is ensuring that schools and homes and damaged infrastructure are rebuilt and re-equipped as quickly as possible. We thank our development partners and many friendly countries for their timely assistance in the wake of Cyclone Winston. Rebuilding is good, of course, but preparation, prevention, and resilience are much better. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the theme that we have chosen for our meeting focuses on community-based adaptation to climate change. Every Fijian knows how important it is for our nation to deal with the effects of climate change. But in the end, when the wind blows, when the rains don't come as expected, when the waters surge, every community and every household endures the effects in a very intimate way. Government resources, know-how, and organization must be marshaled for the public good. And government leadership is essential. But in the end, it is the local communities that must be prepared. People must be able to adapt to the multiple threats caused by rising sea levels, the storm surges, the drought, and increasing intensity of tropical cyclones. And every nation must forge a strong partnership between the national government and the local communities. As a nation, our natural resources, including our flora and fauna, are at immense risk. Moreover, variations in climate conditions place additional stress on ecosystems, which makes them more vulnerable and harder to protect. In some cases, ecosystems that have provided livelihoods for people for generations face dramatic change. Some species may disappear altogether, and new species may arrive to take their place, bringing different sources of food or new challenges for earning a livelihood in our rural communities. In this regard, it is essential to build awareness and develop strategies for communities whose resources and immediate environment are at risk from climate change. We need to be constantly on guard to the need to adapt, and we need to arm our local communities with the information and resources they need to do so. In Fiji, we have also put into place long-term strategies for ensuring that our young people understand the effects of climate change. Part of this has been to develop educational policies on sustainable development and bring together the right personnel and resources. But we are also keen to tap into traditional knowledge as part of our overall mitigation strategies. The fact is that environmental protection must be a major focus for our development efforts for the foreseeable future. So in 2015, Fiji launched its Green Growth Framework, with particular emphasis on the implementation of the 2030 Agenda on the Sustainable Development Goals. These commitments are being incorporated as a matter of priority into our 5 and 20-year national development plans currently under formulation. In the spirit of the Paris Agreement, we will also be co-hosting with the government of Sweden the UN Oceans Conference on the implementation of SDG 14 in New York in June next year. The unrelenting degradation of our oceans and their precious resources should be a matter of grave concern to every nation. We know how important the oceans are. The importance of the ocean to our Pacific peoples are self-evident for their culture, for their livelihoods, and for their health. But there are also the Earth's circulatory system, and their health affects the health of every continent, of every island, every city, and every farmer's field. Therefore, I ask you all to do everything you can to promote the themes and ideals of this conference and draw global attention to the issues at stake. The urgent need to reverse the pollution, the proliferation of rubbish in the ocean, the overfishing, and the destruction of marine habitats that has reached alarming proportions in so many parts of the world. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have a chance next June to bring the nations together to formulate a more concerted and holistic response to saving our oceans and seas. Fiji is naturally very proud to be co-hosting this event with our Swedish friends. It is a great honor for a Pacific small island developing state to be given the task of doing so, and Fiji shares that honor with every Pacific islander. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, while the focus of this meeting is on resilience to climate change, I don't want to ignore all the benefits Fiji has gained through the Colombo Plan in the areas of fighting drug trafficking and preventing drug abuse, community policing, the sharing of information between the public and law enforcement agencies, the SME developments, gender equality, and human rights. It is my government's priority to build a nation and a workforce that can meet the challenges and reap the rewards of the 21st century. Our training, our education must be highly targeted and refined, and that is where the Colombo Plan has set its foundation. The Colombo Plan policy objectives dovetail well with Fiji's national priorities, and the Colombo Plan training programs have been of enormous benefit to Fiji's development in the 44 years that we have been a member. So in the true spirit of the Colombo Plan, I call on member countries and international NGOs for their active cooperation with Fiji and other Pacific Island countries in combating the effects of climate change through the Colombo Plan initiatives. I'm certain that you will see parallels in your own countries to the challenges we in the Pacific face in responding to climate change. And I'm sure that this area of work will feature strongly in future programs of the Colombo Plan. This, after all, the greatest challenge we face globally in the 21st century. We have much to learn from each other, and this meeting gives us a platform to share lessons learned and best practices. I wish you every success in your meeting. And God bless you all.